So I'm gonna go buy a new alternator. I'm gonna buy it at Biltema, which is like a big retail store with their own brand. The products, it's like a little bit of a hit or miss, at least when you're checking the internet. Some people are very happy with the quality and some are not happy at all. And of course a lot of parts there are made by other manufacturers, and but I believe for Saab at least, I think Biltema bought like more a lot of like the blueprints and to be allowed to make certain parts. So I hope this alternator will be working nicely. So here we have the alternator. So I didn't know, but the alternator is actually a very big piece. So I was just looking at YouTube for some videos and Opals and such. I think those are a little bit smaller cars, so you had to dismount more just to get it out. But on the Saabs with the 0.9 TID, I think we will have more than enough space. I have taken out the diesel heater, so that will make it maybe easier. So I don't know if you have a diesel heater, if it's gonna require more space. And this unit is made with all of like the factory specification sizes, and it just basically looks the same. So it comes also with this test sheet, and as you can see, it actually performs up to 170 amps, but you can see that is at 6000 amps, probably right before the cutoff or the rev limiter, and 130 amps will probably be somewhere in the range more of just cruise, or yeah, somewhere where the diesel engine operates more. So it's 100 to 130 amps alternator, this one here. DV Electronics is not the manufacturer, I believe, of the alternator, but it's like the test equipment they used for this testing. And to mount this, it's basically just 2 E-Torx screws, and then on the back side you will have 2 wires. It's the plus, which is the power line that this alternator makes, feeding to the battery, I believe. And then I don't think all of these are hooked up, but then we also have a ground, and not a big ground, but just a small ground. So you have to disconnect these 2 wires from the back, and then you just remove the E-Torx screw from the front, and then remove the belt, the W belt, which is just made to turn the alternator, I believe, and also maybe the AC compressor. I'm not sure, but I think it will have a good idea to have spanners like this. I don't remember if I have it, but I bought a new set for $20. I believe it's a 30mm spanner set, and you just lift up the tensioner and you can like free the belt, which should be fairly simple. And of course some energy drinks. As you can see, 0, because I don't want to get any fatter. Yes, I also want to be slacking, but I need to fix this up, and let's hope it will start. Oh, that was just barely. But okay, I need to stop this. Power steering wouldn't go for some reason, probably because of the power. So I can use one hand, but made some room. Hope I can fit inside here today and get the heater on, so I don't have to be so miserable. That little heater, 2 kilowatt, won't really help too much, but I think it will maybe make it a little bit warmer inside, and I could close it off, maybe move the car back a little bit, so I will have some space to work on. So we are at 2 degrees. I just wanted to see if we can actually raise the temperature inside here with that heater, but let's start this job. The clock is 18:30. We have the alternator here. Generator is called in Swedish, dynamo in Norwegian. I got my Coca-Cola Life. It's a combination of SodaStream Light and sugar. As I said earlier, I don't want to get fat, but I ran out of sugar-free, and we have the spanners. I don't think these are necessary, but they will maybe come useful to slack the belt. So I disconnect the battery. You can just take the terminals off, but maybe I will just clean it up a little bit, and now it won't go to the terminals, and I won't short out anything and make any electrical troubles. So yeah, do what you do or what you want. But we see the alternator is on this side. Normally you would have your diesel heater, I think it would sit somewhere here, so yeah, I don't think that will be too much of a problem. I'm not sure though. But you see the alternator here, and it's fastened, I believe, with two E-Torx screws. I'm not sure where they are, but it's just one on top and one on bottom. And then we need to remove two wires on the back side, one plus and one negative. So on my car everything seems to be fitted, so I can easily find everything, and it looks like on this 100, or is it say 130 horsepower, I'm not sure what they say in kilowatts, but it's maybe this E-Torx screw here on the back side. That would be very convenient because that's easy to find. I will check back on that, and I could feel also the other one is under this pulley, or yeah, it's right under here. You can feel it, and it's a E-Torx screw, I believe it's called. So having a set with those is very useful if you own a Saab. And the first thing I will do is to take off this, I think they call it a double V belt. Of course it's made out of rubber, but it's like internal fabric in it, so of course you can't stretch it, but you have this tightening thing, pull it down here. If you pull on it, it's a tensioner, so if you pull on it you will slacken the belt and you should be able to pull it off. So just here you see my old throttle body from the previous video. Since I'm such a big known YouTuber, I will maybe give this away to a lucky winner. I'm not sure though, or if I'm gonna sell it. Just kidding, guys. So now we have the 15mm spanner on this tensioner bolt here, and we're just gonna pull it this way, but I think I will need a small pipe or something to get some more leverage. A normal socket or a wrench should also probably just work just fine. So I got it off, prying with this pipe here, and I think it's definitely you either need to use like a wrench with a socket that leaves you a little bit of a gap, or something that pulls this handle a little bit to the side so the belt can move a little bit freely. And if you're gonna do this, you should probably also change the belt. I don't have a new belt at the moment, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna change it in the near future, or I will just change the tensioner and the bolt and such when the timing belt should be replaced. So then you need to take this off anyways, but yeah. Now I will try to get the bottom E-Torx bolt out. And then I think it's this on the back side here, this E-Torx. Then it should move out. I'm not sure, but we will try that. The bottom bolt first. E-Torx 18. Not sure if it's 18 millimeters, but E18. So I just used this wrench with this E-Torx. I had it from the bottom side somewhere like this, and there was basically no room. Just wiggle it a little bit, but the bolt was not hard on there, hard at all, and you can see no Loctite at all. So I thought I maybe had to get some extensions so I could like fit it from the top here, and I removed the bolt. But when it was loose, I just took the socket out and then just took it off by hand actually. So just loosened it a few millimeters with the socket thing, and then by hand, not hard at all. It's located under here. You can feel it, but I can't really show the location on camera. Then we have the top bolt, not hard at all to reach, and yeah. So I actually think that we can take the alternator out, but we need to remove the wires on the back side there. Very simple. So in the middle there's a 8mm screw. You screw it off. I did it as on the other screws, used wrench first to just loosen it, and just take it off by hand with just you see the terminals down here, hard to reach, and you just have one hand down there and you just have to go by feel. So it was the same with the bottom one, using a 12mm socket on there, using it to loosen it up and then unthread it by finger. And also, since I have taken off two of the screws, I could like wiggle it around a little bit to make the rotations greater, because there's not a lot of space, and also to get a little bit more room because there's just a lot of pipes and everything down here. But I think it will now get out. But you see, I think there's a diesel heater on most cars back here. I'm not sure if that is going to affect you. I have taken it out, and I'm not sure if you need to take it off to get this alternator out, but it shouldn't be too hard. I have done it. This is very hard to get out. There is like a space down here, but I wasn't really able to get it down here either. There's like this big box here in the middle, and I'm not sure if you remember, but there was a bracket holding all of this with 3 bolts that I removed. One a little bit bigger with this thing, and 2 10mm bolts. I took those off, and then I can like press it a little bit more up and then get it up off here. But the problem you will have is that you will have the diesel heater mounted down there. So I'm not sure if that is gonna affect it, but otherwise you will need to remove that as well. It isn't too hard, but for me it would take another at least 1 or 2 hours. So maybe you could try to get it through the hole down there. I wasn't able to do it that way, and don't really see any other way you could do it. If this thing here isn't easy to move, I'm not sure, but it wouldn't be too hard to remove that. I believe you have to disconnect the pipe flange there, and then there's like for it that straps around it, one connector, and then you also have those 2 pipes running into the warmer unit itself, and I think that is all. So it's not too hard to take it out, a little bit harder to install, I believe. I've done it, but it takes a little bit more effort. But now it's out. It's a Denso unit. Here you can see for the plus side, This is the ground. This is not connected to anything. It's very big and heavy, so it's hard to get out of there. So somebody commented, not commented, but posted a video where this front thing is destroyed, but that is not the case. This one, you can see when I do this, it will stop spinning away in reverse, but the other way it's hard, and if I put it down here, it stops spinning. So yeah, I'm not sure what the problem is, but it's an old unit. I don't think it have ever been changed. $130 amps. The new one is actually just 130. So you see this here, I have put it on the grinder over there, trying to grind off these ends here because it's a somewhat tight fit in between here, and you don't really have any place to hammer, and I'm not sure if I want to hammer this cast iron. So I hope this a little bit of grinding now will put it in place and can fit the, or put in the screw and mount it all up. Grinding definitely helped. One screw is in, or at least almost. I'm like sitting on top of the engine bay, so I can get leverage and also put it in place. Very heavy, very small amount of space, so yeah, it's just hard working here. So knees up here, and yeah, you get my point. And now of course you just do everything in reverse, and I found out that I could use this extension on the top bolt. Makes it much easier to get it in, and the bottom bolt is not as hard, but mounting them, tightening them, of course not too hard. And then there's those two bolts and wires you have to connect to the alternator again, and then just mount up all of these wires, and you maybe have to mount up the warmer, parking warmer as well. So getting the belt on is not too easy. I think that's what I have struggled with most. You have this spanner here. If you try to yeah, and you need to of course use the extension, but it's very hard to get it. It would be very nice if like this, where you could swivel around inside this round thing, so you could move it like this. I'm not sure if you can get those spanners like that, and it also needs to have this bend on it. So you get it in there, but when you have it in there you can't get the pipe on. So on through the wheel down there, I have it at the angle, have to pull very hard, and then I have to like thread on the pipe when I pulled it up long enough so this will go on, and then I can pull it all the way back and get the belt on because of the tensioner. And if you have the threads like this, you can get the pipe on, but then you don't get enough rotation on it to loosen the belt all the way. So it was fairly hard, but it worked in the end. And if you follow my technique, it's going to be much simpler. Get it at a good angle like this, get it on at a good angle. If you don't have a spanner that can spin down there, and then pull it, and then thread the pipe on it, and then take it back to rest and pull over the belt. And yeah, now it's just mounting miscellaneous stuff, and it should work fine. Of course I should have put a new belt on it, but I didn't. So the clock is now 20:51. All here should be fine. Belt is on, alternator is on with the two bolts. The two cables down here are fastened. battery is back inside here. So I think that is it. We'll open the garage door and see if the belt and such will not fall off when I start the car. And I don't see any other things laying around here either. And the temperature went up to 6 degrees, so not terrible working here. But of course things take some time when you're not used to doing it. Headlamp very helpful, but yeah, and soot and stuff everywhere. But yeah, let's see if it actually works. So first time was actually a little bit of a fail. The belt was on there a little bit, or it was missing on one, like not tooth, or maybe it's called tooth, but one of those lines. So of course all of the error codes that got here when the when the alternator and battery voltage got low, of course disappeared. I don't see any thing wrong with the car at the moment. Everything is fine, driving as it should. The belt should be okay, and it should be on there, and everything is hooked up again. And we will just hope that I have mounted everything correctly, tightened all of the wires up so it's feeding the right current over to the battery and such. The wires and connectors seem to be fine. Some people are saying they are of a too small dimension. That is probably true, especially when they get older and corroded and get smaller. But yeah, changing to a new set looks to be fairly hard. All of the wires are like tucked into the plastic wrappers and such, so it just isn't something I want to deal with, at least. So just hoping everything will be fine now. And I should soon change the wheel belt, maybe tensioner also, and then also the timing belt should have been replaced a long time ago on this as well. But on the 8Valve car, if the belt breaks, it's a non-interference engine. I'm at least 95% sure on that. So the engine will only stop, and you can, yeah, none of the pistons and valves will collide and totally destroy the engine. So just die and not cause any major problems. So that's great. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you find it somewhat helpful if you're going to do this on your own Saab 93 1.9 TID. The only difference in between on my car is that I don't have a diesel heater anymore, since it just gave me problems and very expensive to fix it, and yeah, so I just removed it. Of course you can do that as well. But yeah, thanks for watching, at least, or maybe you should thank me for actually documenting this.